What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our quarterfinals team builder, taking on Chess Ben and the Memphis Zzizzlies. This is going to be an interesting one. We've played chess a couple times in other leagues that I haven't uploaded, so they're pretty irrelevant to the discussion here, but let's run through Chess's team. He has the Deoxys Defense, Zero Aura, Greninja, Metagross, Comfey, Passimian, Mega Abomasnow, Zygarde 50%, Gengar, Alomomola, and Golbat. His priority users are the Zero Aura with Fake Out and Quick Attack, Greninja with Water Shuriken and Shadow Sneak, Metagross with Bullet Punch, Comfey with Triage healing moves like Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, Synthesis, and whatnot, Mega Abomasnow with Ice Shard, and Zygarde 50% with Extreme Speed. Hazard setters are the Deoxys Defense with Rocks and Spikes, Greninja with Spikes and Toxic Spikes, and the Metagross with Rocks. His Hazard strategy has typically revolved around getting up spikes, but because I have a Talonflame, I wouldn't be surprised if he brings rocks specifically for the Talonflame and the Masquerain, I guess. His removal options are very limited. They're only the Comfey and the Golbat, so it's pretty solid. Pretty solid there. Like, it's decent removal. It's not great. It's not terrible, I guess, but it's really not that good. And then his 4x weaknesses are Mega Abomasnow to Fire and Zygarde 50% to Ice. So, in terms of what I don't really expect to come, I'm sort of hesitant on the Alomomola. I'm a little bit iffy on if Alomomola is going to show up this week. It doesn't make a ton of sense against me. It's like a decent wall to Garchomp, but I have a ton of stuff that just beats Alomomola down single-handedly, so I'm not sure about that one. He might bring it as a special wall for the Mega Diancie, but I'm really predicting Metagross to come, like Assault Vest Metagross or something, for Mega Diancie instead, especially if I want to catch that thing with an Earth Power. Assault Vest is just going to leave it open. And Mega Diancie actually's got a pretty decent matchup here, so I would imagine that he's going to want some way to be able to revenge kill it with like Bullet Punch. It would make the most sense to me if he was doing that, because obviously I can't run a Babiri Berry. Passimian I'm a little bit iffy on. It's got an alright matchup. It's not fantastic, but it's not horrible either. It kind of depends on if he expects my Buzzwole to come, which is another thing. I also don't know if the Golbat is going to come unless he thinks the Buzzwole is going to come. So we'll sort of see about that. A Scarf Passimian could be alright. He could speed tie like Scarf Hoopa, and then you turn on me and kill me over and over and over again. So great potential there. Might be some way of revenge killing Mega Diancie with Scarf Passimian. Banded Passimian is a nice way for him to break through Vaporeon and Bronzong, but doesn't break through Buzzwole, doesn't break through Amoonguss. So there's a few different reasons why I don't necessarily think the Passimian's coming. Mainly because I think that the Greninja, the Metagross, Mega Abomasnow, and the Gengar are all coming 100% of the time. I think that's 4 mons that are 100% coming, and they're all fairly offensive. I also think, did I mention Mega Abomasnow? I mentioned Mega Abomasnow. I not sold entirely on the Zygarde 50. It could be something that he brings, could be something he leaves off of the team. Deoxys Defense is something that I'm not entirely sold as coming either. Zero Aura is something that seems likely, but he does need like defensive mons. Calm Mind Comfey could be something that he's going to want to bring. He's got a lot of decent brings here, and nothing completely horrible, which is why I think it's maybe a little bit difficult for him to sort of plan that out. So in terms of what I'm bringing, let's talk about what I'm bringing now. First up is my Bronzong here. I'm running Rocks, Gyro Ball, HP Ice, and Earthquake. This attack investment that I'm running is enough to Oko Gengar with Gyro Ball after Rocks. I'm probably should be Kasibberry over Leftovers, but this is also my main Mega Abomasnow switch in, and so dealing with that will be helpful as well. I've got HP Ice on here to deal with Zygarde. If it wants to sub up on me, I'll always break a sub and at least be able to threaten it. If it wants to be a Dragonet set or something like that, then I've got HP Ice for that. Although Toxic might be a little bit more helpful, I just wanted a way to deal with Zygarde if it wants to set up in my face. So, yeah, Earthquake is there to hit the Metagross back. Otherwise, I can't really touch that. And to hit the Zero Aura, because I can kind of deal with Zero Aura. I would really prefer to have Toxic on this, but I can kind of just switch into things that might have Toxic on other things instead. I've got the Rocks on here as well. Rocks are decently helpful. They are a big help against the Mega Abomasnow, for sure. and they're a decent help against the Golbat. If the Golbat wants to come, it's just really good chip against everything else that would want to show up against me. And again, the rocks put the Gengar in range of Gyro Ball, so it's decently important for me to get up rocks, especially if he finds them to be a pain and wants to defog them, then I won't have to deal with his stupid-ass spikes. The physical defense investment, I can easily take knockoffs from Life Orb Zeraora. It's not even a problem. I did the calcs, and I don't need to be Colberberry to live any knockoffs from like Zeraora or like Deoxys Defense. Worst thing the Mega Bomb Snow can hit me with is like Focus Blast, which is super strange. So I tank Focus Blast from the Mega Bomb Snow, by the way. I was very much considering running Heavy Slam over Gyro Ball in this matchup, just because it was a better way to hit the Comfy. It was maybe a little bit of a better way to break through other things without running out of Gyro Ball power points, but it would rely on me running Heavy Metal over Levitate, and I still wanted Levitate, all things concerned. I was really considering running Heavy Metal with Heavy Slam instead. It's doing slightly more to the Abomasnow if I'm Heavy Metal, Heavy Slam, but unfortunately it's not really doing that much because Abomasnow is pretty light, all things considered. Or, sorry, heavy, all things considered. Vaporeon's next. I'm running a very mixed Vaporeon spread. I didn't calc this with anything in mind, but this is meant to be a Greninja check, so I wanted to have a little bit of investment on both sides. The Greninja's probably going to have something like Grass Knot to hit me with, or he'll just pivot into the Zeraora. This is my way of getting a Toxic off on things like Deoxys Defense, pass a Fat Wish into something like Bronzong, in particular Bronzong, but also potentially the Hoopa or the Masquerain. Protect for Wish Protect shenanigans on myself, and then I've got Scald there to just burn things, honestly. Just anything I don't want to Toxic, I would want burnt anyways, so burning things would be super fantastic. I thought about running Ice Beam over Scald just to deal with the Zygarde, but then I felt like it was just over prep for the Zygarde based on what else I have on my team, so I didn't need to run that. Just very physically, a very mixed defensive Vaporeon, again, designed more to take on Greninja than take on something like a Metagross, but I can also take on the Metagross, even if he's got Thunder Punch, I can take it on, because then I can just pivot into my Amoonguss, which is next, the third and final part of my defensive core this week. I'm running a three-part defensive core, because his offense kind of shoves it up my ass. Oh, Vaporeon's also my only Gengar answer, by the way, which is very scary, so I have to be very concerned about getting up a certain hazard that I'm bringing. Clear Smog is there for Comfy shenanigans, it's there for Zygarde shenanigans, it's there for Zeraora shenanigans, I don't know, set up Deoxys shenanigans, set up Greninja shenanigans, set up Abomasnow shenanigans, obviously cannot touch the Metagross. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually ran Safety Goggles Metagross this matchup for my Spore, because otherwise Spore kind of goes in against a lot of stuff. I've got Giga Drain, which was originally Sludge Bomb, but Giga Drain lets me deal with Greninja a little bit better. If he's extra sensory and he's super invested, he'll destroy me. Because I'm very physically defensive, this is designed to take on Zeraora. I've got HP Ice to deal with Zygarde. I actually beat any variant of Spadef Zygarde. I break a sub with no investment HP Ice. I calc that, so should be safe there. Clear Smog should be enough to deal with Mega Abomasnow. If it's really low, I will outspeed it. I'm running quite a bit of speed investment on my Amoonguss. Just to outspeed a creeping Abomasnow. I don't think it's super likely that he would deal with that or anything along those lines. Hail is going to be really annoying, by the way. Hail is actually going to be extremely annoying, so I've really got to watch out for that. Masquerain's next. I'm bringing a Sash Masquerain with Webs, Ice Beam, Quiver Dance, and Bug Buzz. So Webs is really solid, and then if I can set up a Quiver Dance after that or something, then this mon can actually go in. He does have quite a few priority options, but Masquerain is a decent offensive threat against the Abomasnow and the Deoxys Defense. The Abomasnow can obviously Ice Shard me, but if I've got it Intimidated, then I don't think Ice Shard plus Hail will kill me, and I'll at least get a hit off. I might get two. I'm not entirely sure on that calc. My defense is pretty bad. Masquerain's defense is pretty horrible, but he doesn't have any stab rock types, so that's something that's worthy to note. I think the Metagross might have Rock Slide to catch the Talonflame or something. Switching in though, Greninja might be mixed with Rock Slide as well. Never know. I'm speed tying the Passimian with this. I didn't need Air Slash. I was fine with just Ice Beam, Bug Buzz, and Ice Beam gives me a little bit more coverage against the Zygarde, and it lets me hit the Golbat. So I went with the Ice Beam over Air Slash, which would have really only been helpful against Passimian and nothing else in particular, actually. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with this Masquerade set. In all seriousness, it's a great Zygarde pivot if I really need it to be. I can always Wish Pass into it with my Vaporeon, so I don't have to worry about my Sash necessarily being broken unless it does actually get broken. But Webs is going to be a core part of my strategy to let Hoopa run amok this game. So next up is Garchomp. I'm running Scarf Chomp here with Earthquake, Outrage, Poison Jab, Dragon Claw. I'm running dual Dragon Stab. If the Comfy doesn't show up, then Outrage is reasonably free against a lot of this team, and it's going to put a lot of stuff in a really bad position if I can lock in Outrage. And if the Comfy is alive, then I can always Dragon Claw. If he wants to switch into Comfy for whatever reason, then that's by all means that's his prerogative. Sorry, but I do have Amoonguss ready to deal with it, and Bronzong ready to deal with it. Draining Kiss is going to proc Rocky Helmet, so he's not going to like to 1v1. He's not going to want to 1v1 Amoonguss. And Amoonguss, as long as it stays alive, is really effective at dealing with a lot of these Pokemon. Fire Punch there, Aura can't break it. Things of that nature. If he's special with HP Ice, he can't break it either. So that's what the idea of Garchomp is. I'm running out of speed on Garchomp for Comfy, so I'm outspeeding max speed Comfy. Not that it'll matter because he'll just Draining Kiss anyways, but if he was not running Draining Kiss, then I'd be able to outspeed that. Or Scarf perhaps, be the same sort of idea. Excuse me. In reality, the Abomasnow is just going to revenge kill me with an Ice Shard anyways. And I figure that my best bet against the Zygarde, I'm going to outspeed a Dragon Dance Zygarde anyways with this spread, so there wasn't much point in gaining a tiny bit of extra bulk when I was just going to die to the Abomasnow regardless, so it didn't really matter all that much to me. Poison Jab is there for the Comfy, and Earthquake will decimate the entire team if Golbat isn't around, because everything else is grounded. Abomasnow can take the hits, and I always switch into Bronzong on it. I'm not sure if he would pull a double or not, but weakening the Abomasnow is always a good thing in my book. Deoxys Defense might be able to take hits, but it's actually not that bulky. Deoxys Defense is actually really bad, so I've got a better plan, and that is my Hoopa. Hoopa-Unbound is really, really solid this game. This Mon is just fucking nuts in this matchup, man. Especially with Webs up, this Mon just obliterates the entire team. Z Dark Pulse just destroys so many things. He's got a gigantic dark weakness on this team, despite having Mons like Greninja and Passimian. Those are not really that great of dark resists, to be honest with you. And Comfy is the other one. So I've got Gunk Shot there for the Comfy. It's a roll against a max HP Comfy to kill with Gunk Shot after rocks because I am timid. Psyshock is there mainly for the Passimian, but it'll also hit the Golbat and a Comfy of some variant, Gengar and whatnot. Although I'd rather click Dark Pulse. I'd rather just spam Dark Pulse in all honesty. Yeah, Z Dark Pulse is a roll to kill Aloe. It's a roll to kill Zygarde. I believe it outright kills Abomasnow. It definitely outright kills the Deoxys Defense. Regular Dark Pulse is a roll to one-shot after rocks? I can't remember. Against Spidef Deoxys, it does a lot. It's gonna two-shot the Zeraora for sure. Z-Dark Pulse is a roll against... No, it always kills max HP Colbur, Berry, and Metagross, if that's the way that he wanted to go about things. Or Max Spidef. I think it's Max Spidef, Colbur, Berry, Metagross dies to Z-Dark Pulse. So that's what I've got that there for. And then Signal Beam is there to hit the Greninja. Because I don't have the great way of hitting Greninja, and so I wanted to rock with Signal Beam rather than Focus Blast. It's just a better way of hitting the Greninja that way. It's also kind of an okay way of beating down the Abomasnow, but realistically, I'd love to get Webs up and then not have to think about it anymore. I'm speed tying Passimian with the speed investment. I'm just max speed. I'll outspeed Zeraora after Webs because, unless he's Scarfed, which would be very weird, but if he isn't Scarfed, then I'll outspeed Zeraora after Webs, which is pretty clutch. And Hoop is just going to blow through this team. 224 is all I need. This is actually a default spread, surprisingly enough. According to the Showdown Damage Calc, this is a default spread, but 224 is enough special attack to blow through everything, and 252 doesn't change a ton of rolls, so I get to have a little bit of bulk on my side. It's not a ton, and I'm still relatively physically defensive paper, but Hoopa just, it kind of goes in. Alright, in terms of what I'm not bringing, Buzzwole was definitely on the mind. It's got a solid matchup against a lot of Mons on his team, actually, especially with Webs. Buzzwole is freaking amazing here. I opted out of it because I wanted more defensive capabilities. I really wanted Webs, and Hoopa was better. Hoopa has the better matchup for sure. Buzzwole would have been an alright would have been an alright mon underneath webs, to be honest with you. Maybe a bulk up 3 tax mon under webs would have been just like flames, drain punch, leech life, ice punch. Probably would have been enough for the entirety of the team. I'm really scared about Golbat. I'm scared about HP Flying Zygarde. I think it's going to have to run HP Flying Zygarde if he wants to deal with Buzzwole. It's an easy way to break through Dio, but fast Dio is always a thing. I'm also really scared of fast Dio. I'm scared of fast Golbat for my Hoopa's sake. That's like quite the problem. So I'm going to have to deal with that in some stance. If Golbat comes, it's definitely his Defogger, and it takes up a slot of something that I would be more scared about, to be fair, but Golbat could also be really annoying because I'm not running Knockoff, I'm running Gunk Shot. Rotom Frost is something I was very much considering. I was really considering like a fully Spadef Rotom Frost actually to deal with Mega Abomasnow, but it turns out that Mega Abomasnow just decimates Rotom Frost either way, so it was completely irrelevant. Mega DNC, another mon that I was very much considering, but just didn't have the tools to win this game. It was an alright breaker, and it could come in on a lot of things actually afterwards. Greninja's definitely going to have Water Stab for it, might even have Water Shuriken and just run like a slow, modest Greninja. But he would probably also want to outspeed Starmie, so I'm not sure about that. Talonflame was alright. I was very much considering a Z-move Swords Dance Talonflame because it just destroyed a lot of stuff. Zero Aura being the biggest problem and faster than it was kind of the main reason that I'm not bringing Talonflame. I'm also really scared of Gengar and Scarf Gengar. Starmie probably was never showing up to this match. It's got an iffy matchup. Like, it's not horrible, but it's also not great. And sort of that was kind of the idea about my entire team. This matchup looks fairly even to me on paper. I'm not entirely sure if it's like super stacked or what, but I'm fairly happy with the team. If I get blown out here, then I guess I get blown out here. I have a history of not playing super well in playoffs, and so I'm looking to sort of change that, especially considering it's a 1 versus 8 seed. But that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the team builder, and I'll catch you guys for the match.